Alright, quick review, and I promise to keep this one relatively quick. This is a Roadpro 12-volt hot pot. And basically, it's a water warmer quasi-boiler sort of thing. And if you have seen the little 12-volt coffee cup heaters that they made by a few different companies, I think Roadpro also has their own version. It's basically a cup with one of those things built into the bottom. So what we have here is one of those little things some people call a stinger. It's built in the bottom, kind of a waterproof electrical connection. You know, not hard to say that I would say this isn't built to last forever, but it's a $20 item and one of those semi-disposable trucker items. I'll be a little bit curious about how this thing's supposed to go through, let's say, a dishwasher or get dunked in the sink to be cleaned. You're kind of pushing your luck with that, right? That's why, personally, even though they say this is good for coffee, and, you know, if you're looking at $5 cups of coffee, I guess you want to make them last. That's one way to do it. If you're looking at boiling water, this thing could last quite a while. And so as far as a 12-volt off-grid cooking stuff, which is the playlist this is going to go into, that's what I use it for. The other thing is kind of interesting, depending on how you have the cab of a truck laid out, they give you this little self mounting bracket. This is metal, it's kind of flexible, bendable. The idea being that there's a number of places you can slide this in or screw it on and bend it down and work with the different angles and mounting points so that this thing can be kind of suspended in the air with a heat element not up against anything. So if you're bouncing down a road, this thing stays, you know, relatively secure, isn't going to upend itself, and can keep on cooking, right? Not a bad idea. And so there's a few different ways you could deal with this little bracket type arrangement on here, or you can remove it entirely. They give you access to the little rivets on there. It looks like there's a hole, but that's because the outer part is opaque plastic. The inner part that actually holds the fluids is clear plastic. So even though that looks like a hole, that's not really what that is. And I guess, yeah, it's not really removable. A little bit of cautionary statements imprinted on the plastic about how it's you know, not going to be something you would just want to leave on all the time. It can boil up and get hot. There's also a couple other water boiler things that Roadpro makes and sells, available through Amazon. You'll see a link in the video. So next we're going to boil some water, and I'll use it with this you know, ramen stuff. I will say this, that this camper that I have is hooked up with other cooking options. Obviously I have a propane stove. I don't leave the propane bottle hooked up to it. You can look on YouTube about propane fires in campers, and it's ugly. Okay. These things can be consumed in flame in nothing short. And I value this thing a little bit more than that, so I really don't want to make it into a rolling firebomb. And that's one of the reasons I really focus on electric off-grid stuff. And I do have the propane here. It's just that as you go off-road, as you move things around and they shake, rattle, and roll, you never know when you may have developed a propane leak. I double, triple, quadruple check this thing for leaks every time I take it to a new location. But if I get lazy about that and I just don't want to, I go back to the electric stuff. So next we're going to boil some water. I'll show how that works. Okay, so because this little instant lunch cup and noodles thing isn't going to use the full amount of water that this thing holds, then I'm not going to fill it up all the way. Okay. In fact, I could probably have done a little bit less in there. One thing is kind of interesting just to tell that it's on. There's a little LED light built into it. And so I've plugged it in on a relatively conventional cigar lighter outlet. Now, here's the other thing. These are LED lights in the trailer, so they're not overly energy sensitive. You see that? That's where I've unplugged it. I plug it in, and look how the lights get dim. And I'm running 400 amps worth of PowerSonic batteries here. And that's with no power usage interfering with anything else. So These 12-volt cooking appliances, they suck the juice, and because it's dark outside, you can see the windows are dark, right? It's dark outside, so we're purely on battery energy right now. We'll see how long it takes this stuff to boil. I've had it plugged in for maybe a minute, since I've been talking. And we'll see. Now, the other thing to increase our efficiency a little bit is this comes with two little covers, both of which can be used as cups, right? So, like if you were serving a little bit to two different people, you could do that. I'm going to turn on my water a little bit here. I'm going to rinse out the inner cup and turn off the water. The reason you'll hear noise in the background is that's a water pump with the built-in water tank. So we're going to put this here. This helps contain heat a little bit, and then that's insulated too. But I think it's going to take a little while to warm up, so let's see what happens. And as the old adage goes, a watch pot never boils, almost. About 15 minutes later, roughly, it's starting to kind of like get that little pre-bubble thing going on in there, and that's all we're getting. So I'm cleaning up in here a little bit, and I'm going to relax and watch TV. Okay, so we're on plus almost a half hour, and right around a half hour. I've got plenty of electricity here. I turned off some other stuff in order to maybe make more electricity available to this thing, and you can see through the little window. I mean, it's kind of convenient that it's just barely getting a little. See, you get a little bit of boil bubble. I'm going to give this about another 5 minutes because I need to get out of here and go take care of some other work. But you can see that this is, it's a long-term thing. It's something where you definitely don't, this isn't when you want to boil water in a hurry. If you need to boil water in a hurry, then we're going to look at a different appliance, or we would use the coffee maker for that purpose. I got a feeling I would just be putting water through the coffee maker. The problem with that is you get that little bit of residual coffee flavor that goes into like almost everything involved with it. But so this is the hot pot, or I would say warm pot, and it does say keeps your drinks hot, right? So I had really cold water I was putting into this, and that probably had a lot to do with it.